Morning, everybody. It's time for 5 minutes with Frankie and the part of the show. Oh, wait a minute. We've already done this millions of times. Day 1155. Let's talk about that.
My hands a bit loose.
Good morning, beautiful people. It is Monday in the summer. Back from vacation. Sorry I only did one last week. We had a great time just chilling out. So, we're talking about the book of Daniel. Now, Daniel is a very interesting book because this is when the Israelites were in captivity in Babylon, and Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were these four faithful people in the whole book. And it starts off with Daniel being in the royal court. And being in the royal court, you had to be smart, you had to be pretty handsome or pretty beautiful. And you had to be, a certain type to be in the court. And so Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were the four that really had top qualities. And he had to be of the royal line. So we know that Daniel was in the royal line of David. And so there were certain things that they had to eat. They had to, do and drink because of the court order. But Daniel, Shadrach, and Meshach, and Abednego were Jews, and so they had some, convictions about food and about, things of their religion. And so in Daniel chapter 1, verse 8, it says, "But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine. And he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way." Now, he could have just easily said, "Nope, don't want to do this," and stood there and, said no and denied it. He could have complained or gossiped or a whole bunch of other things. But here's Daniel actually being kind and explaining why they do the things they do. And so Daniel asked permission. Now, if you read on a little bit more, the guard said, "I really can't do that because I'm under command." Well, he said, "Okay, let's do a test. I won't eat the royal food or the wine, and we'll eat just plants and vegetables and fruit, and you'll see which one is stronger at the end of these days." And so they took the test, and literally Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were healthier and better than the other ones that were taking the food and the wine. And so not only did they ask permission, but they tested the theory. They tested what was going to happen. And so it's really cool because he asked permission, he was respectful, he tested it out, and it was proven to be right. And that was a godly thing. And so he gained more wisdom, he gained more, to be admiral or respectful in the court. He grew in reputation because he wasn't rude, he wasn't pushing an agenda, he wasn't pushing through, he wasn't slamming them with godly things, but he did it in a way that could be proven and was respectful. Now, I'm assuming if the guard said no, that there was some other way that Daniel would be faithful to God. But just so happens that if we're respectful, if we ask permission, if we're loving and kind, things will go a little bit better. Now, that's not promised all the time, but we are to stay faithful to God, not to the world. And so this whole theme of this week is really staying faithful to God and not to our culture, not to our traditions. We stay faithful to God. And so my encouragement for you today, are you staying faithful to God in your convictions? That would be a great thing. respectful, kind, permission, and tested. I love you. Jesus loves you too. You have a great Monday. Bye-bye.